Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are still having a good day. And today I'm going to be streaming myself building a Greybox live. So I did this already on a previous stream, but I'm going to start from scratch and I'll show some new things that I haven't quite touched yet in the Endless Mission editor. So first I'm going to pull up on the project portal the create a Greybox level task, which is still open. And the due date for this is August 2nd, which is Monday of next week. So you still have time to build a gray box for Dawn City Heist if you would like to. And the requirements for this are to build a level using the DCH prototyping kit and publish it and meet these requirements that are in this gray list right here. So that's what I'll be doing. And just as a reminder, we have some resources here for you to use. We have tutorials on the basics of how to use the Endless Mission editor, which I've gone over in a previous stream, but also there's some handy videos for you here. And there's also a tutorial for how to publish games. So if you're having trouble getting your saved level published and up on the content portal, you can look at that. And then finally, there is a guide document to talk about some of the things in the prototyping kit. So this is what that document looks like. And there's an FAQ here with some common questions. And then there's also some images to show you the structure of the kit and talk about what's included. But I'm actually just going to hop right into the Endless Mission and show you that kit. So I have it pulled up already here. And as a reminder, you can access this by going to the Content tab, and it is DCH Prototyping Kit, which you can also search if you're not seeing it come up. And then you just click on it and click download if you don't already have it, and then edit to open it in the editor. So let's see. Today, I think what I'm thinking of is I think I want to make a mansion-themed heist level. So I want to make like a big, opulent indoor setting, and maybe I'll use a lot of doors and keys and have the player have to kind of progressively solve these lock and key puzzles to get to the next part of the mansion. I think that's my overall goal today. So I'm also going to try to use views because there's a few different views that I provided in this kit and I haven't really been using them very much. So as a reminder, the full view will show you everything that's in your hierarchy here. Even things that you may not need to use, like the shock effect that's on the camera that plays when the player gets hurt. But there's also a simplified view, which will show you everything you really need, but not some of the more detailed stuff about how the game works or things like that shock effect. There's also a gameplay only view, which will show you things relating only to the game and winning and losing, and like the smart conditions like getting coins or the target treasure. And then finally there's environment only, which will show you only the ground plane and the lighting and the primitive shapes in your scene, which is basically the structure of your level. So since we're building a gray box, the first thing that I like to do is just build out a basic structure in the scene and not focus too much on the exact gameplay. So what I'm going to do is I will start out in the full view so that I can organize this a little bit more. I will take the prototyping kit and I'm actually just going to move that to the left so that I have this ground plane to work with. And the ground plane is actually located in the scene already. And since I just want to do shapes and things in the scene, I'm going to switch to the environment only view. And I can take primitive shapes from the prototyping kit. And what do I want to do? I want to start out with like a walkway up to a door to get inside of the mansion. You start outside and then you go in the mansion. That's what I want. But I'm thinking maybe I don't want you to start at the front door of the mansion since this is a heist and we're trying to be all sneaky like. So maybe I'll do kind of like a hidden back alley entrance. I don't know why you would have a mansion next to an alley, but maybe, I mean, they exist. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab a couple of walls. Single wall is a pretty nice shape to work with. Oh, so that's the thing. So here's something about using the views. You can't move things that you create in the hierarchy while using a view. And that's because of the way that these views are set up, is that it only takes into account the things that were there when the view was set up. So if you make something that wasn't included in the original view, it won't let you move it. But what I can do is, and by move it, I mean move it in the hierarchy, so put it in a different folder, if you will. You can move it in the scene just fine. But what I'm going to do instead of duplicating that is copy it, and then go into my scene view and paste. And now it's in my scene where I want it. And let's just make a folder here. I will call this entrance. I like to stay organized. And I still can't move that because I'm in environment only. I'm going to move into full view very briefly because I like to be organized, and back into environment only view. Okay. So I can zoom in on this. And this little box here, that's my player. If I go into like simplified view, I can see the first person avatar is right there, but I can see that box, so I know where they start. And let's do, I want like an alley. This is something, I do this a lot when I'm building a level. I will kind of box the player into a hallway that leads them directly to where I want them to start. So I'm going to take this and stretch it out. And now I will duplicate that and put one on the other side of the player. There we go. And I'm also going to put one behind the player because I don't want them to be able to walk off the edge of the level. Like we saw when I was playtesting some of the Greybox levels. If you don't have anything around the edges of the level to prevent your player from getting to the edge of this ground plane, they can just walk right off and fall into the void. And I don't really want them to do that. So I'm going to box them in. And then maybe I will put some pillars, because I want this to be like a fancy mansion. So let's find a cylinder, copy that, and paste it in here. And it's going to be way over there in the prototyping kit, but I will move it over here. And let's make that bigger and taller. So when I fully build this level, probably I will make this look like a more convincing alley that you could conceivably get in and out of, but that the player can't actually get in and out of. But for right now, I'm just going to keep it like a box because the look of it isn't too important right now. What's important is the structure and the general shapes and vibe that I'm getting from this. So I have my kind of pillar section here. Let's take these walls actually and make them, make them even longer. And what I'm doing right now is multi-selecting. You can select something obviously in the hierarchy by clicking on it, but if you hold Control, you can select additional things. And if you click on them again, it'll deselect. And when you do that, you can use the gizmos, which are the transform and rotate and scale. You can apply those effects to all of them equally. like so. And that helps me get kind of a symmetrical look there. So I'm going to take my cylinders. Actually, what I'll do, I'll hop briefly into full view because, again, I like to be really organized here. And I'm going to call this pair of pillars. And what I've been doing is creating an empty, which create empty, if you right click and go create empty, it just makes a game object that has nothing in it. And I use those like folders. So I just put these two cylinders into my pair of pillars object. And now I can duplicate that. Oops, actually, before I do that, I will hop back into environment only. Darn. Okay. So that's another quirk of views, is that if you move things when you're in a different view and then you go back to a view you were using before, you won't be able to edit those things because they're not included in the view. So I have to think about how I want to do this. The views are a little clunky, but they can be useful if you only want to look at certain things, which is what I'm trying to demonstrate today. So pair of pillars, let me just redo that. And I shouldn't be able to move those, right? Okay, so I'll hop into full view. And now if I do that, can I see them? Yes, okay. So now I can duplicate that pair of pillars. And I'm just gonna make like a little walkway. Those are not equidistant. If you can't tell, I am a little bit obsessive compulsive. Okay, so we have this kind of line of pillars, and then I'm going to put my real mansion entrance. So I'm going to take this single wall that I have back here, duplicate this, and I'm going to put it over here. And I want this to be a tall mansion with multiple floors. I'm not really sure how tall yet, but I'm going to start with that. And duplicate that. Put it on the other side. That's about right. And let's do one more in the middle here. Oh, you know what I could do? Might be a cool shape. And this is, I'm being very visually oriented here because that's like one of my passions as a game designer. I like the visual aesthetic of levels. I like to make the environment look really cool and feel really cool. So what I'm going to do is I want like an archway shape here. Let me think about that for a minute. What shape do I need to make an archway? I'm going to look in shape. So if you press that shape button, it will bring up all of the primitive shapes, which are the white basic 3D shapes that I've been using to prototype levels. And I think if so I could do, It's tricky to find rounded shapes sometimes because they're more complex and they have more polygons. So this is totally like not necessary. But I think if I take pipe half, or is there a hollow cylinder half? No. Okay. I'm going to take pipe half and put it into, actually, let me scroll back up here, put pipe half into the entrance. And I will move it over here and zoom in and to rotate that to be like that. Here's a tip for rotating objects. If you go in measurements of 90, you will always cleanly rotate in right angles. So that's why I hop into the local Euler angles here, and set it to like 90 or 180 or 270. And usually if you rotate it to about what you want it to look like, but you want it to be a perfect angle, when you rotate it, like I just eyeballed it and I was like, yeah, that's about good. And then I looked at which one of these changed. The one that changed and is closest to a multiple of 90, you can just set to 90. And we'll give it a nice clean look. So, oh, my walls are kind of detached from my other walls here. I actually want this to be pretty not long, but I want it to be tall and wide enough to meet the walls. Take that and put it, that's fine. Gonna make this a little bit less wide and see if I can kind of emphasize that arch shape. It's a little hard to see. That's okay. I did my best. Okay, and then I'm gonna take this wall and make it kind of a top of the arch. And it's gonna have some gaps there, but I think that's okay. It's windows. So here we go. Pull that out to meet the rest of the walls and make it shorter. Eyeball it. Again, the exact measurements are not super important at this point. That's good enough. Oh, it's not quite good enough for me. Move this a little. Okay, there we go. So we've got like an archway with some windows. It's an interesting shape, and that's what I was going for. Okay, so now that we have our entrance corridor that took me that long to make, this is totally not an important part of gameplay here, but I like to make things look pretty. So let's grab Oni and give some context to this. Now, I'm going to hop into the simplified view because Oni is not necessarily a part of the scene. And I'm just going to put her... I'll put her in front here. Outside of the thing. Right there. And I'm going to give her some dialogue, actually. So if you haven't changed Oni's dialogue, what you need to do is open her up and go to Dialogue UI. Screen text will be the first thing she says to you. And that's also where all of her dialogue text will display. So what do I want her to say to you? Let's say... wow, this place is fancy. Ready to get to work. And I'm just going to leave the rest of her stuff default for now because I haven't figured out what the theme of this should be. But now she's there, so when I play this, actually before I play, I'm going to save this as my own level. So I'm going to save it as DCH Mansion Greybox. Save. And if I playtest this, I can see what it looks like from the actual player perspective. Okay, yeah, I'm liking the way that looks. And then Oni's over here. Hi, Oni. And there's my text that I put in there. And I'm gonna skedaddle. Okay, so I'm gonna hop back into the editor and actually put some gameplay and the rest of this building in here. So I have kind of an entrance facade. Oh, you know what? I want my walls to be attached to the door. Which ones are they? I'll move that like so. There we go. Okay. And let's put some things in here. So I'm going to take this single wall and duplicate it. And I think what I want to do is have a lot of side rooms here, but what I'm going to start with is just a rectangle. So I will have this wall and make it longer. And I'll duplicate that again and put one on the other side. And then I think it would be cool if I had like a dual staircase. So I know there's a staircase in here. Primitive shapes. Stairs. Copy that. And oh, you know what? I'm no longer in the entrance area, so I'm going to make a new folder. I can do that in environment only. Create empty. I'm going to call this foyer. And hop into full view and take those new walls that I made, not that one, these ones, put them in foyer. And inside foyer, I will put stairs. And I will, he's facing the player, so I think that's 270 degrees. Yep. And I want this to be bigger. One thing to be careful with staircases, though, is you don't want the steps to be so big that the player controller doesn't go over them without jumping. So I'm actually going to test that right now. And if that is an issue I run into, I can kind of fake it by making another staircase. Okay, it looks like I'm walking up these just fine. So that is a go. I do want them a bit taller. So I'm going to do the thing I was just talking about. I'm going to take this. I'm actually going to... where's my gizmo? That's interesting. Oh, it's because I'm in simplified view, I bet. Environment only. Yep. Gotta remember to switch to the right view if you're using them. That is one benefit of using the full view, is you don't have to worry about that, but I am determined. Okay. What I'm gonna do is grab a cube. Stick it in here. Also, why is my stairs outside? I want this cube to be over here and kind of fill in the stairs and make a landing. Sometimes it's a little bit finicky. Put this on the ground. And that to fill out the whole length of the stairs. That looks about right. And what I think I'm going to do, actually, is... oh, you know what? I know what I want to do. I'm going to make this longer and put it here. And then I'm going to take another stairs. Oh, I want this a little longer first. There we go. And I'm going to duplicate these stairs and turn them around and do a staircase like this. Whoops, that's the wrong gizmo. There we go. I think I want these to be shorter though. Like that. Now I want to see if that is too short, because it feels kind of short. I think I'm going to take all of this and just make it taller. And I have to take this second stairs and move it up a bit. And now I'm going to test that and see if that is still walkable with this player controller. So you'll notice that my methodology for level building is very environment driven. I'm making this whole area, oh, here we go. So now it's taking me a long time to get up these stairs because they're so tall, and this player controller is not built to go upstairs like that. So I'm going to have to make them a bit shorter, but that's okay. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm very environment driven, so I will make the structure of the environment and then add gameplay into it. But that's not the only way to build levels. It's totally okay to instead start with the gameplay flow and go from there. But I like to start with the basic environment, so I'm going to shorten that just a touch. See if that works. So it still takes me a while to get up the stairs, but I think that's okay. Maybe that's something that I can incorporate into the gameplay. Like you have to climb the stairs and it takes you a little bit longer to do that than just walking around. So yeah, be careful. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that staircase there. And what I'm going to do now, I think I'm going to exercise a lot of symmetry in this level, just as a theme for this. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to actually go into I'll go into environment only and make another thing for staircase. And I will, whoops, move, nope, can't do that. Full view, move that into staircase. And now back in environment only, staircase, duplicate. And I'm gonna have to change this a little bit, but that's okay. I can't just turn it around because I want it to be mirrored. But what I will do, oh no, I can't. Okay. Sad times for environment only view, but that's okay. So I'm gonna move this one over here. And this one over here. And now I have a mirrored staircase thing, and I'm going to put another platform up at the top here. But for now, I think this is good enough to start some gameplay. So I'm going to start adding some drones and some coins. So first, save. Save often. Save more than I'm saving right now. I'm experienced, but that's not an excuse. Saving will save your butt because things happen, games crash, you will lose work, and it will be very sad. So try to avoid that as much as possible by saving. I think what I want to do is I want to have a drone that goes in a rectangle in this main room. So what I can do is go into gameplay only and grab, not that, enemies, rectangle patrol bot, copy, and paste. Oh, whoops. Okay. Paste. There we go. So now I can take this bot and I'm just going to flip him 90 degrees so he's in that kind of a shape. And move him a little bit. That's already pretty close to what I want. But I have to do some things. So before I move the bot, I'm going to take another gameplay object from the prototyping kit, which is the start respawn point. And I'm going to put that right there. A little bit further out. And that is where the player will go if they get caught. I'm gonna take a minute to sip my tea here. Stay hydrated, folks. Okay. So, on our rectangle patrol bot, which I will have to look at with simplified view, will that work? That won't work. Full view. I'm going to take the territory bounds, which I talked a little bit about yesterday. These are the edges of where this bot will patrol. And they don't have to be exact, but the closer they are to where you want your bot to be able to chase the player, the better. And I'm going to take this first one, the big square, and put that over here. And what that will do is make it so that when the player gets caught, if the bot happens to chase them and escape its territory, it will still go back to patrol instead of chasing the player forever or getting stuck. So let me test that. There he goes. And he will go in a rectangle. And if I get caught, come to Papa. Uh-oh. Okay. So this is what we don't want to happen, and I think I must have put my respawn collider somewhere that I shouldn't have. Let me focus it again. Come here. I'm going to move his territory bound that's on top of the respawn point a little bit and see if that fixes it. I mean, it should be pretty good here, but I don't know. Let's go to full view. Let me see if that works. Okay, so that is the desired behavior, is for the bots to just go back to patrol after they catch you. And looks about right for patrol. I think I'll leave him like that. Yep. Okay, so that's one bot down. And I'm going to take a moment to look back at the requirements. So we need one patrol bot, at least one hiding spot, at least one locking key puzzle, at least 5 coins, 1 target treasure, and then just avoid focusing on making it look too pretty. So we've satisfied one of those requirements, but I think it's even more fun if you have more enemies. So what I'm going to do is add another drone. So if I go into gameplay only and take this back and forth patrol bot, I'm going to put him in there. Move it like that. And what I want is to have a bot that goes up and down the stairs that you have to kind of avoid and be careful with 2 bots instead of just 1. So I'm going to put him there. Hop back into full view. And take the first one and put it on top of the respawn point, just like I did with the other guy. I think he should be able to chase you in this whole area. I'm actually going to move that a bit over here. This one needs to be inside the building, like that. Move it like this. Oops. And I want him to stop chasing you when he gets to the edge of the stairs, landing right there, like that. And again, it doesn't have to be totally exact. Although, an important thing is, because this guy's going to be going up and down vertically, I'm going to have to make these taller so that they will work on the bottom floor or the top floor. That should do. And then, in order to make him not just go through the stairs, I need to edit the patrol nodes. So this move and rotate pair over here, this is where he will stop and turn around. I'm going to move that right about there. Maybe a little bit closer. And I will see how that looks. Okay. So that looks pretty alright. He's not going through the stairs, which is something that could have happened and that would have concerned me. But one thing I'm noticing is the beam is not really getting me when it should. And that's probably because it is a flat that is not seeing me when it's above me. And same when it's below me, it can't get me. But at least it's going back to where it should be going, so let's see if I can change that a bit. I have an idea. My idea is, if I take this guy and take the move and rotate pair 1, if I look, full view, if I look even deeper, I can see the rotate node. And what this does is it tells him to face this way. So face like looking up the stairs. But I can also make him face upward a little bit. And I won't be able to see how this actually looks unless I'm unless I'm doing it on the patrol bot itself. I don't want this to start rotated, but I'm just going to do this to see how it looks. I think that's not bad. And that is, what, 334? I'll say 330 when I change the node. So how I'm going to do this is rotate node 1. I'm going to take the X and set it to 330, just like I did with the bot. And it's interesting, it looks like the bot got messed up. Huh. I don't know why you're down there, bot. And if I take the, yeah, so that should work. And then the same thing for the second pair. I need to look at the rotate node here. And I want this to be facing downward a ways. So let's say about 30. I don't know what this is. Oh, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Leave that. C should be 0 though. Sometimes it will auto-populate with the value, and that's okay. You just gotta let it do its thing. So let me see what this looks like. I've never tried this before, but I'm hoping that it will have the desired effect. Okay, yeah, so he's facing that way, and now he's facing downward. And that looks like a little bit too dramatic of an angle for my liking, so I might make him face a little less downward. But let's see if I'm in his way. So now he catches me, and he comes towards me. And will that happen if I'm up here? Yes, it will. Cool. And then he goes right back. Okay. So I'm just going to modify those angles a little, and that should be golden. So let's go back into full view, rotate node 2. Instead of 30, let's set that to like 20. And instead of 330, let's do 340. See what that looks like. There we go. That looks about right. Yep, that's what I want. Now come to me. Right, that works for me. Okay. So now I've got a couple of drone enemies in here, but I need some more gameplay. There's more to this than just avoiding drones, so I'm going to put a couple of hiding spots, I think. And let's go into gameplay only, prototyping, gameplay objects, hiding spot. Copy that and stick it in here. And I'll move that. Now we have a hiding spot in here. And I think a good place for this might be along the wall here. And I'm actually going to rotate it like that. And put it right there. Maybe not actually. So there's one thing about hiding spots. In order to make the drones go to them after you hide and then go back to their patrol, you need to include a territory bound, an extra one, on top of where the hiding spot is. Just like you do for where the respawn point is. Otherwise, what may happen is when you go to hide, the drone doesn't know that you're not there anymore, and it gets stuck. It goes to where you were, and then it just sits there because it's where you were, but it doesn't know what to do after that. So I'm actually going to put this somewhere else, I think. I don't know. I'll put it right here. And instead of 90, I'll do like 60. And for each of these drones where the territory is overlapping, I'll go into full view. And I will take a territory bound. I'll just duplicate this one, move it over here. And for this one, it's good to have it as tight to the hiding spot as possible. Still doesn't have to be exact, but it's good to have it be fairly close so that it will only go back to patrol if you're like right in the hiding spot. So that looks about right for this rectangle patrol bot. And then for the back and forth patrol bot, I'll do the same thing. Duplicate that, move it right here, make it smaller. Okay, that looks about right. So I'm going to test that. And as I said yesterday, this is what the level design process looks like often, is just you do something and then you go and test it, and then you do something else and then you go and test it. It's a lot of that back and forth. So that's good. They're not detecting me right there. And then if I caught on, whoa. Huh, that was interesting. I don't know what happened there. Pop by this guy. Now he'll go back to patrolling if I get out of his vision. What happened there? Is he touching a... It looks like he's touching a bound where he shouldn't be. I wonder if his territory bounds are not set up correctly. Interesting. Yeah. This guy is broken, it looks like. So he got me there, but he wasn't getting me the other times. Like that. I was just able to sidestep him. Something was wrong. What I want to test is... So the hiding spot is working, but something else is not. Come here. And if I here. Okay, so this guy, I need to see what's up with him. First, I'm going to save. So that's the rectangle patrol bot. Let me look. What's your damage? What may be happening? Oh, I see. Yeah. So, the territory bounds that I have for this guy are not where I want them to be. This should be... that one's okay. Yeah, the ones at these edges of the room are okay, but this one should probably be back a bit. Maybe even a little farther. And this other one needs to be farther this way. Like so. So I have a feeling that will work better. Let's see. So now if I stand over here, for instance, and move away, that's so weird. There's trouble afoot, and I don't know what the trouble is. I suspect it has something to do with the colliders being misaligned. Is he touching? So I'm wondering if this guy's territory bounds are affecting the wrong drone. That doesn't explain what's happening over here. I wonder, I should probably move his, Interesting. So this is something that also happens in level design. You will get strange and unexpected behavior, and that is okay. So I think he might be touching this when I don't want him to, which means it's too close. So I'm actually going to extend his territory and make him able to patrol a... well, not patrol. He will still patrol only the areas that I tell him to, but now if he sees me and I run over here, he should be able to get me still. That's what I'm hoping. And then for this one... let me just click on this. Yeah, this should be for the correct spot. So I wonder if it's the hiding spot. This might not be a good place for it, which is, again, why we test. So I'm going to actually move... oh, I see. I think I understand. So because of the placement of my nodes and the triggers to return to patrol, I think what's happening is no matter what, even if he's chasing me, when he's moving along this path, he touches just the edge of that hiding spot. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to take the hiding spot, move it over here, and I'll have to do this for both of the bots. Move the return to patrol trigger right here. And then for the other bot, same thing, move this over here. Let me test this. Get away, but I can't. Okay. And back to patrol. And if I sidestep you, I can't. Except right there, which I think he touched this again. Sidestep you this way, you are touching one of your bounds. That's interesting. It's still doing the thing. That's so strange. It's very interesting. Not quite sure what's happening with this guy. He's not doing what I want him to. Because I shouldn't be able to escape him. And I'm not totally sure why I can. Let me test something. Let's see how much time I have first. Okay, let's see if I can fix this problem before we wrap up in a few minutes. So what I'm going to test, and actually I'm just going to disable this other patrol bot first so that I can just focus on this guy. I'm first going to disable the hiding spot patrol trigger and see if that's what's causing the problem. Okay, come and get me. Able to escape that time. Move over here. Can still get me. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, he wasn't supposed to keep chasing me, but at least he backed off. Sidestep. Fascinating. Come and get me. Can't get away. And then I'm going to re-enable the hiding spot just to be sure that that's what it is. Okay. Interesting. So I don't think it's the hiding spot. I think it may actually be that other patrol bot, which shouldn't happen, but there's a possibility that the patrol bot triggers will work on ones they're not supposed to. So if I re-enable this guy, yeah, okay. It's something with the the other patrol bot is messing him up. So that shouldn't happen. But what I think may solve that is if I move their territories so that they don't overlap. You should be able to have overlapping territories and that should work, but for whatever reason it seems like it's not. So what I'm going to do in the full view is take this guy, but also take my staircases and just move them back. I think that should work. You know, if I... Yeah, that should be okay. And then I'm gonna have to take this territory bound and move it back. And this one, and move it back. And let's see if that still causes a problem. They're still overlapping a bit, but it's not overlapping on the main path. And I think that should work. So that was correct. He's not supposed to go beyond that wall. If I sidestep you over here... This is still buggy, though. He shouldn't be able to chase me when I'm in the respawn spot. I might have to move that. It looks like that fixed it. And if I get spotted, and then I run over here and hide... Interesting. So we've learned something today. There's a possible bug that could happen there if you have overlapping patrol bot territories. But I think it should be okay now that they're not overlapping the main path. I may move this guy a little bit, though, so that he's just a bit closer, because I think that will work. But at any rate, we are, I think, at about time. Oh, we're past time. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that this was interesting to watch. And I will see you next time. Thank you very much.